Well, good morning, everyone. It's Friday. Can you believe it already? Almost the end of June. Welcome to this new 12-week program, a little different than what you've seen before. So I hope you will enjoy it. And as you come into the room, the comments are open. I'm so excited to see you all. And I will give you a little traveling music. Never know how much I love you. You'll never know how much I care. And when you put your arms around me, I get a fever that's so hard to bear. You give me fever when you kiss me, fever when you hold me tight. Fever in the morning, fever all through the night. Sun lights up the daytime, moon lights up the night. I light up when you call my name, and you know I'm gonna be alright. You give me fever when you kiss me, fever when you hold me tight. Fever in the morning, fever all through the night. Everybody's got the fever, that is something you all know. Fever isn't such a new thing. Fever started long ago. You give me fever. Romeo loved Juliet. Juliet, she felt the same. And when he put his arms around her, he said, Julie, baby, you're my flame. Thou giveth fever. When we kisseth, fever with thy flaming youth. Fever, I'm a fire, fever I am born forsooth. Hi, everybody. Captain Smith and Pocahontas had a very mad affair. And when her daddy tried to kill him, she said, Daddy, oh, don't you dare, he gives me fever. With his kisses, fever when he holds me tight. Fever, I'm his missus, Daddy, won't you treat him right? Now you've listened to my story, and now here's the point. Chicks were born to give you fever, be it Fahrenheit or centigrade, they give you fever. When you kiss them, fever when you live and learn. Fever until you sizzle, what a lovely way to burn. What a lovely way to burn. And what a lovely way to burn. And what a lovely way to burn. Good morning, everyone. As we begin today, we have a whole new 12 weeks ahead of us, and I'm so excited that you hear. This is Oration Saga and Song, and I'm so glad that you're here. I wanted to find a way to make this more of an experience, learning and applying Think and Grow Rich, a little more entertaining, a little different. And I hope that you will enjoy everything. That song was made famous by Peggy Lee, and I heard my mother singing it around the house and on the radio when I was a little girl. So Think and Grow Rich was written almost 100 years ago. And the music back then was quite different. And the way people processed information, they didn't have the internet. My goodness, they just barely had a typewriter. So a lot has happened over the last 100 years. Yet what you're going to find is that in Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, the number 2 bestseller of all time in personal development, second only to the New Testament. And nothing is new in here. But what is unique about it is all of these principles of success have been written about since we started recording history, which is about 5,000 years ago. So every philosophical and religious text points to these. The distinction is, though, that Napoleon Hill consolidated 5,000 years of these principles over a 20-year period so we could know what it takes to become a millionaire, become happy, healthy, and wealthy. Now, there have been millions, if not billions, of copies of this book, and it is the actual roadmap to becoming a millionaire, to use the money for whatever you want to build a life of wealth, health, and happiness. And many personal development greats have done it. But you would have to wonder, well, how, if there's all these millions of copies being sold, why aren't there a million millionaires? And therein lies the challenge. We have to be ready and willing. And only a few of us each day get that hunger, that tickle, and then remain ready and willing. Right? And so they continue to grow. And the whole point of this series is to hand feed you these principles with practical applications over and over again, because this is how faith is built. And out of confusion comes clarity. There may be some confusing concepts for you, but I will tell you that we have seen a lot in our lives. And faith often is not understood 100% scientifically. Yet we've seen how faith works. And we now know the process to build faith in our ability, our deservability, and in our world. But as you know, as you've worked with me, at the very end of this book, Napoleon Hill wisely shared with us our 6 basic fears. And what you know from studying with me, the odd concept that we have faith in our fears. Fears are real. They're powerful. They're enemies. So we keep them close, right? We keep our enemies close, our friends close, and our enemies closer. Therein lies the process that we use to build faith. It's exactly the same. And so I'm going to share with you some wonderful things, some isolated things, and let me say hello to all of you. So happy to see you here. And I'm going to stay right on time, and I have lots of different things to show you. So we'll see how it goes. There's my wonderful Christy. Thank you for being here, Christy. And Adrian also. Hope you enjoy this format. Good to see you. And let's see who else we have here. Elizabeth is here from Rhode Island. Hot enough here. Good. Well, it's hot enough here too. And Elizabeth is a hypnotherapist and an author and a nurse. You must get to know her. So right now I have my 3 favorite fans, and then here's another one. So here's Tracy. Hi, Tracy. That's all right. You can always go back and listen to that part, just that part. Okay, so please enjoy. Hope you really love today. And Platine, so glad you're here. Gosh, that must be, let's see, if it's 10 o'clock here, gosh, it must be around supper time or dinner time where you are. I think that's it. Okay, clarity is on the way. And that's really what we're all about. Hi, Mark. He's calling in from India. So glad you're here. And if you're watching on LinkedIn, you can click the 3 dots at the bottom and view the event details and share if you like. Please share anything that you're noticing and sit back and enjoy yourself today. And I will... Thank you, Mark. Oh, Ashif. Hi, Ashif's here from Toronto. So glad you made it. I think you'll like this today. So honestly, I'm going to tell you, I kind of got tired of repeating the same thing, and I thought, well, let's make a show. So you noticed, hopefully, that I made my own intro, right? And Nico Angai Galindo showed me how to do it on Zoom. Hi, Show It All. So glad you're here. And so I'm very proud of it, and I will show it to you if you haven't seen it. But I want to welcome you. This is 12 weeks. This is Q3, and I repeat this every quarter. Why? Because repetition is how we learn. How we became fearful of certain things is not only by failing or being criticized, but then thinking about it. And what we know now that Napoleon Hill didn't know 100 years ago is that that thinking is a cellular activity. So when you in your memory bring up the visual image, the visualization, the picture on the screen of your mind, which is about here with your eyes closed. And I want you to keep that in mind. It's about 20 degrees up like this. The emotions come with it, and you're thrown right back to 8, 10, 12, 14, whenever these things happen the most to you, without your realizing that this built perfect faith in the fear that you're not smart enough, that you have failed, that you aren't the one, because we've seen and repeated the proof. Well, obviously, the antithesis is just the opposite. And that's what Think and Grow Rich is about. It's how to build the spiritual army in your conscious awareness that outshadows the triggers. You hear the word trigger. Those are your 6 basic fears. 6 basic experiences in your life that you have relived over and over again, not good, bad, right, or wrong, but now they're automatic. When you get an idea that you've never done before or that you failed at, one of those 6 fears is going to jump up and tell you this is a bad idea. And then you're not strong enough yet or clear enough yet to say, hold on a second, to your own reaction. And we are bombarded with thousands of ideas and thoughts every day. So it's a process, and it takes a little time, right? And that's why we do this. And we only set one goal at a time. That is basically so that you can live the rest of your life happily, and that you will master this particular way of thinking when you're triggered, so that you outweigh and outwit that fear with the positive side, because they're both there all the time. So I'm so glad you're here. Let me just say, I am well. Thank you, Shoadul. And here is Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Sandra is NLP and all kinds of wonderful mindset work. So let us begin. And let me see, I've got a little list here of everything I'm supposed to do. So the first thing I want to do is I want to show you my new trailer. So we'll open up with this. We'll start again. And there will be something unexpected at the end today. So I'm really excited that you're all here. And I want to hear what you have to say. Everyone, I'm doing very well. A little bit of my vision in the right eye is starting to come back very slowly. All right. We are going to dip into, let me show you this. All right. This week is the introduction. It's all about definite purpose. It's not even one of the 13 principles of success. It's the introduction, which Napoleon Hill suggests that you read many times. What I would suggest that you read it and do not move on until you get the concepts, or you can go back to one of my first, there's a whole slew of 12-week series. All you have to do is go to the first one, and sometimes the second one was part of the introduction. But it is through hearing and allowing into your conscious awareness this information in different ways from different perspectives that allows you to become more objective and more aware of your infinite potential. During this series, out of confusion will come clarity. So rather than reading a book all the way through, this is study. And study allows you to apply and to deeply understand how to use these things. It's all designed for you to live a life of wealth, health, and happiness. That is what this book will give you if you follow it. So today I'm going to pull a lovely piece out of the introduction, and then I'll share with you. We'll be finished at 10:45. This is out of the introduction, and I'm pulling right out of the middle of it because I love the story that comes with it. So I think I can do this in just a few minutes, 10:17. I've got myself down for 5 minutes at most. So here's what I suggest you do is just sit back, listen, take a note or two. You don't really have to, but go ahead. Allow your mind to wander. Allow these things to filter into your conscious mind. And don't listen to your fears. There are no fears. If something confuses you, just wait until the next concept comes up. It doesn't mean anything if it confuses you. It only means you have to hear it again until it becomes clear. Out of confusion comes clarity. That is a universal truth. So if you sit with it long enough, right, you'll get it. All right, so I'm having a little trouble reading, obviously, because vision is only with one eye, but I love this. And so bear with me. Oh, there is Lay. Hi. Oh, let me just, before I start reading, there's Linda. Hi, Linda. So happy to see you. I'm glad you got this on the first day. But, I always review, and you can always go back and listen, but I'd love to have you all this quarter. And I want to hear what you've done with the material. I'm going to have Harvey Tuck come on to my Mindful Monday show to share with you how he has used Mind Over Matter Mondays and this work to achieve some phenomenal goals. And after all, isn't that what it's all about? To achieve the goal we set. And how do we do that? That's what this is all about. So Linda, thank you for being here. Yes, absolutely. Study is different. In fact, Wayne Dyer talked a lot about this, Lay, in his last book. He read the Tao over a year. And each month, he only read one chapter over and over. Now, why would he do that? Because what he knows is that's how faith is built. That's how the faith and our fears were built, through repetition, and we didn't even know. All right. So this is right out of the introduction. This is about definite purpose, being very clear what you want, why you want it, how it looks and feels when you've already had it. It's one thing that compels you to do it, and you do not know how. In fact, you may have failed at it, but somehow through your intuition, you're getting a strong feeling that you are the one and you must take this on. It's usually about service, but you have to be compelled to do it, to not allow anything to or anyone to interrupt you, because you don't want to do anything that moves the momentum away from where you're headed. And like I said, when you have only one goal, it's easy to do because you really only have to think about it 2 or 3 times a week and maybe do a couple of 15, 30-minute tasks. That way you get to live the rest of your life. That way you're not overwhelmed. But all the time you're building faith in your ability and your deservability to get this thing done and to disprove that you believed that you weren't the one. Because reality said you weren't. We simply use biomimicry. And that's what I've done over the last 17 years is figured out precisely what we have to think and when we think it and how often we have to think it and everything about that so that you can intentionally, based on this clear purpose, build a vision of something that makes a difference in the world. And you're obsessed a little bit and you're compelled. Not a lot of people do this. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, let's just take a look here real quick. Then I want to get into this. Great convo on how emotions form. As always, I love your topics. Leslie and NLP, we took the tiny details behind the internal picture, sounds, and feelings. Is the image bright or dim? Is the right? This is all, read this. This is all about visualization. So linguistic programming is another view on how you can get this done. There isn't just one. And if this resonates with you, and I intend to invite Sandra to be a guest on Mind Over Matter Mondays because I want to learn about NLP. And I'm also going to invite Elizabeth because she's a master hypnotherapist. I want her to teach us how to self-hypnotize, to use these positive affirmations in a way to speed up the manifestation of faith in our ability and our deservability. Okay, ready? Here we go. All right, so right out of the middle here. Success comes to those who become success conscious. Failure comes to those who indifferently allow themselves to become failure conscious. He means indifferently, he means by default, like you're not paying attention, it's just in your environment. The object of this book is to help all who seek it to learn the art of changing their minds from failure consciousness to success consciousness or faith consciousness. And a weakness found altogether in too many people is the habit of measuring everything and everyone by their impressions and beliefs, right? Some who read this will believe that no one can think and grow rich. They cannot think yet, I'm adding yet, in terms of riches because their thought habits have been steeped in poverty, want, misery, failure, and defeat. We refuse to believe, or we think odd, that which is not familiar or which we do not understand. We foolishly believe that our own limitations are the proper measure of limitations. Sure, another person's eyes may appear different because they are not the same as our own. Millions of people look at the achievements of highly successful entrepreneurs such as Henry Ford after they have arrived and envy them because of their good fortune or luck or genius or whatever it is that they credit for the entrepreneur's fortunes. Perhaps one person in every 100,000 knows the secret of entrepreneurial success. And those who do not know are too modest or too reluctant to speak of it because of its simplicity. A single event will illustrate the secret perfectly. Now, Napoleon Hill talks about the secret to when you, in this chapter, when you're reading this, there is a secret that he will not tell you what it is, but it's in every chapter and it will jump out at you. So begin believing or listening for what is the secret that brings all this together? What is it? So it's a good question. One day Henry Ford decided to produce his now famous V8 automobile engine, one of the most successful developments in the history of the automobile industry. He chose to build an engine with the entire 8 cylinders cast in one block, and he instructed his engineers to produce a design for the engine. The design was placed on paper, but the engineers agreed to a man that it was simply impossible to cast an 8-cylinder gas engine block in one piece. Ford said, "Produce it anyway." "But," they replied, "it's impossible." "Go ahead," Ford commanded, "and stay on the job until you succeed, no matter how much time is required." The engineers went ahead. There was nothing else for them to do if they were to remain on the Ford staff. 6 months went by, nothing happened. Another 6 months passed, and still nothing happened. The engineers tried every conceivable plan to carry out the orders, but the thing seemed out of the question, impossible. At the end of the year, Ford checked with his engineers, and again they informed him they had found no way to carry out his orders. "Go right ahead," said Ford. "I want it, and I will have it." They went ahead, and then, as if by a stroke of magic, the secret was discovered. The Ford determination had won once more. This story may not be described with minute accuracy, but the sum and substance of it is correct. Deduce from it, if you wish to think and grow rich, the secret of the Ford millions. You'll not have to look very far. Henry Ford was a success because he understood and applied the principles of success. One of these is desire, knowing what you want. And next week we'll do desire. So what are you hearing in this? What is the point? Determination, persistence. He believed it was possible. He knew that all ideas are already here, that if you could think it, you could cause it in the world. But remember, you didn't know how. So you had to be compelled. Now, how are you compelled? Well, if you've worked with me, you know that through intuition is how we co-create with God in the universe. So God is always with us in our conscious mind and whispers the right things or the things that we want to do that are in service into our ear all the time. But don't forget, we have a whole cacophony of fears and experiences that are going to jump up and say, "Bad idea, Leslie. You tried that before and you failed," or "You have no idea what you're doing. You will fail." So what are you hearing? You notice that it took over a year and a half to get that 8-cylinder block. And Henry Ford was not an engineer. The engineers who knew what they knew about engineering said impossible because it had never been done. So one other thing to keep in mind here for yourself, how this plays out in our lives. There are times when we will set a goal that is so large and so compelling, yet we are not well educated or don't have the experience to pull it off or to achieve it and be happy, healthy, and wealthy and not be in anxiety. So you could quickly look at a person who wins the lottery, right? They are not a vibrational match to managing $1 million, right? They only are a vibrational match, and they only know what to do with whatever they're making right now. But the universe in its infinite wisdom, and we can say God, we can say Buddha, Krishna, Allah, it doesn't matter. It's all the same to me. It's one universal source of energetic love that is omnipresent and that wants us to be happy, healthy, and wealthy. And will hold back on your goal if it's still too lofty for you. Now, it wasn't for Ford, but it sure as heck was too lofty for the engineers. Think about the lesson that they learned. Here they are, the experts, telling Henry Ford that we can't do this, and coming back every 6 months to say the same thing. But he kept saying, do it until it's done. What did he know? He knew that all ideas are possible. And what did the engineers learn? How little they know. And now how much more they know, that they actually created this thing. So what I want you to understand from the introduction, and I'm checking the time here. Oh, and I get to say hello to Nick made it just in the nick of time. Hi, hi, honey. Thank you for being here. Yeah, so glad you're here and everybody's saying hello. Okay, so I want to stay right on this. So thank you for being here, everyone. And remember to go back and to listen to this again in the background if you want. All right, doesn't matter. It's okay. So that's what there is for you to know about the introduction. Your idea before you even apply desire, which is next week. Let's see if I can do this. Yeah. Week 2, we'll do desire, the starting point of all achievement. But you don't start any of it until you have a goal, something you want to do. Now, look, it only has to be bigger than what you've done before. You cannot know how to do it, but you're so compelled. You don't care. It's almost like unconditional love, right? If you've ever had your children upset at school and you marched yourself to school or to the principal to talk to what the teacher did or whatever, you will say whatever there is to say. You do not care one bit how it comes out or what these people think of you. Your child has been compromised. Your love for this definite purpose has to be that strong. That's why it's rare. So think about computers and aircraft, all these great things, the Taj Mahal. They didn't know how to do it, but they had a deep desire. So how did they get it? They got the idea, and the universe, through intuition, had them know, through whispers, if you will, that this is it for you. You're the one, and it won't be easy, right? But you don't care. Just like when this happens with your child. That's the first thing I could think of. Okay, so that's what we're going to do next week. And we've discussed the lesson. And so let me just see what I have. Oh, that's it, I guess, actually. Okay, so let me take that off. Now, next week, we're going to do desire, the starting point of all achievement. All right. And I'm looking at the time. Boy, we're doing really good here because I have a surprise coming for you. So we'll do desire, but make sure, my recommendation is that you come up with something. Now, it doesn't have to be philanthropic 5 years out where you're running a mega $1 million business. It can be something like the most new clients you've ever had at one time has been 3. What would really delight you and outweigh fear is if you had 7, right? You've never had it before. Then you begin to visualize, and we'll talk a lot about visualization. It's the DNA of manifestation. And you heard that from me. I made it up. And because I realized that visualization is how children do it and how we do it. So what there is to do is to be so in love with it that you think about it a little bit each day and you imagine it as though you've already achieved it. What this does is it brings in your feelings. It steps up your cellular vibration. There's a spring in your step. You're excited. It's positive. You're building faith in your ability and your deservability. So the first thing to do is find something that will help you move you in a direction you want to go. Maybe it's even, I was thinking when I first started this in 2008, I had a family, a husband and wife, and she was very ill, still working. He wasn't working, and she was not going to get better. And their dream, this was in 2008, their dream was to take a cruise on the Mediterranean. That's all they thought about with their children. And they wanted to do it before she died. What I can tell you is that before too long, in just a few weeks, thinking about this, focusing on it, imagining it, discussing it, feeling really great about picturing the water, not looking at them in the distance, but being on the boat, smelling the sea air, hearing the seagulls, and one just pooped on your arm. Oh, what glory there is there. One of her clients, several weeks later, knew that she wasn't well and had the tickets for a Mediterranean cruise and could no longer attend. And they came to the meeting, these were live sessions, in tears of joy. This is how the universe works. She didn't know anything. She didn't say anything to them. It just worked out. So our universe is good. Our God is good. We are cause in the matter. What we want is actually moving toward us at the same amplitude of cellular vibration that we're moving toward it. Hence the reason, this definite purpose, whatever it is, it just has to be bigger than what you've done before and compelling enough for you not to be stopped by the fear that says, are you sure you want to do this? Right? Because as most of us give up. So here we are. We're doing really well. Let me see what else. Have we got any comments here? Are you enjoying this, everybody? I hope. All right. I intend. All right. So what's coming up next week is on Monday. The format for Mind Over Matter Mondays is taking a slight shift to interview people that have extraordinary results in mindset and mindset masters, people who have a process that works, just like NLP is one. Hypnosis is another. There's another one that starts with F, and I can't think of what it is. There's some sort of new technology, and there's landmark. There's all sorts of transformational technologies. I'm looking for people who have experience and results so that they can share with you another way to look at this. Then you have a choice. Now you're building up conscious awareness of your infinite potential, because there are so many ways to do this. This is the one that I've used for 17 years, and with over 500 clients. They've all achieved their goal unless there was an emergency. And now they know the process. That's why you only do one, because then you can repeat the process. Okay, I've got to have this. I've got to have a big why. I have to be compelled. My natural fears are I can't afford it, or maybe I'm too old, or people will laugh at me, right? So that is what we're countering. That's our shadow side. But faith is stronger. We just have to build it. That's all. Okay, let me see what's next. Oh, and then next Friday we will do desire. If you want to read, you can read that chapter, or you can go back and read or listen to this one so that you're starting off. It's linear, so you have to get this first. And if you have a problem, just reach out to me. If you have 2 ideas or 3 ideas, jot them down and pick out which is the most compelling to you. Now, don't say that in 12 weeks, I want $1 million, because it cannot violate the rights of others, which means you cannot rob a bank. All right. So now for one more special thing, let me make sure I've got everything. Okay. Are you guys ready? Now we're going to do a visualization, the intention of which this is a meditation and visualization, is for you to be very focused and clear, to develop your imagination as you visualize and get very single-minded on this material for right now so that you remember it. Also, this will release you into the weekend in a very high vibration. So I'm going to read you a beautiful meditation. You can watch this at the same time, or you can close your eyes. So let me make sure I've got everything set here. Okay. Are you ready? All right, everybody. This 3-minute guided meditation is designed to center your focus, cultivate peace, and ignite your imagination. Begin by getting comfortable where you are. Let your hands rest, your feet be on the floor, and I recommend you close your eyes. Take a deep breath in through your nose, and then let it out slowly through your mouth. Again, inhale through your nose, fill your lungs, and exhale, letting any tension melt away. Now, imagine yourself standing at the edge of a quiet forest. The air is crisp and clean. Sunlight filters through the canopy, casting gold flecks on the soft earth beneath your feet. With each breath, the peaceful stillness of the forest wraps around you. You take a slow step forward, the earth grounding you. As you walk, feel your thoughts begin to settle like leaves falling gently to the forest floor. Nothing else exists right now. Only your breath and the rhythm of your steps. You come to a small clearing with a crystal clear pool in its center. The surface is calm like glass, reflecting the sky above. As you sit beside it, the water begins to shimmer with color, blues, golds, and violets swirling like creativity itself, rising from the depths. Each breath now becomes a gentle invitation to let go of just distractions, to invite in clarity. With every inhale, feel focused energy filling you. With every exhale, release anything that clouds your peace. As you gaze into the pool, an image forms. It might be a dream, a goal, or simply a vivid splash of color. Whatever arises, let it guide your imagination. Explore it freely, without judgment. Here, anything is possible. Now, take a final deep breath in and slowly let it out. Begin to bring your awareness back to the present moment. Wiggle your fingers, stretch a bit if you like, and when you're ready, gently open your eyes. You've just taken 3 powerful minutes for yourself. Let the calm and clarity stay with you as you continue your day. All right, everybody. And I'm having fun playing with my, let me see if I can do this way. Stop sharing. There we go. So now, we are now at 10:46, 1 minute over. We'll end with the intro, and then I'll see you next Friday when we do desire. So let me just see if I can get this going here. There we go. Have a great weekend. Thank you, everyone. Hope you've enjoyed today. Can't wait to see you again next week. And by the way, if you're free this evening at 8 p.m., come back on LinkedIn Live. You'll be able to see the Soul Man live at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then tomorrow night at 8 p.m., Nick Never in Control. That's live here on LinkedIn. And then back here on Monday, 10 a.m. with Mind Over Matter Mondays. Bless you all. Reach out if you need any help determining which definite purpose is the one that you might want to use. If there's any confusion, you may have several. This is Leslie Flowers saying thank you, everybody. Have a fabulous weekend.